We're gonna call this. We're gonna call this the high tech ghetto interview, right? So I got my man's Swift Cliff right here.
Oh yeah, oh we in this thing. Oh
We
yeah,
in
we
this
in that
thing,
thing.
right? So it's been a while since I made a video, so I might as well go into it. I promise you, I have not forgot about my YouTube channel, and I'm going to try to get more subscribers, so we can really build a community on this food for thought thing. I got a second job, so give me a little slack. But on that, this is probably one of my best friends from college. The first college I went to, Old Colby, Kansas. Throwback time. Um, had a blast. We definitely became from boys to young men. Young men, because we were in the country, so we didn't get to face the city life just yet. So it was interesting times, but it's the probably the biggest interesting thing is how even with the distance that we created between each other, because I stayed in Kansas and he went back home to South Carolina, North Carolina, North Carolina. Um, it's crazy how we all ended up thinking the same way in a certain type of way, and so this is kind of what this discussion is going to be about. So we're going to hit certain topics, and I'm definitely going to upload this on my profile, and then I'm going to try to send it to him some type of way. But I guess let's get into it. So I guess first you introduce yourself, Cliff Griff. Speak on your platform too, and then we'll go from there.
Hey, if you don't know, now you know. It's your boy Clifton. You want to be technical, but everybody call me Cliff. Swift Cliff. If you know a little something about your boy. I am. I would say a creator as most of you guys are. We all creating our own way. I have a little YouTube channel also. It's called Openly Opinionated. If you want to tune in to some old stuff, I haven't filmed it a long time myself, so don't. So just go ahead and catch up a little bit. You got some time, and I've known this guy for a good long time, and just it's an honor and a pleasure to grow with him and watch him as he goes through this dance of life as well.
Oh yeah, ain't that the truth? So me and Cliff was already talking, and we were actually talking about our women issues, and I was going to say something that he kind of alluded to, and actually I was going to post this video just yesterday about this. So let's get into it. So there's a lot of things. I already talked about pride, right? And something that Cliff also alluded to and spoke on while we were just chopping it up. He definitely said that, not to toot my own horn, but ever since I spoke on pride, he can see where pride is definitely probably the upper echelon that has been pushing people over chaining themselves, chaining themselves to things that really hold themselves back. And so yesterday, it was really resonating on me. And actually, I don't know about y'all, but everybody, there ain't a lot of people, but yesterday was February 2nd. I got out of work at like damn near 12. I don't know about y'all, but yesterday I was really emotional, super emotional, and I realized that it was basically a full moon, but the moon was huge last night, if y'all didn't notice, and it was orange and everything like that. So if any of y'all have some emotional things, but I realized that yesterday, and something that resonated with me or that's been bothering me is this fallacy of the idea of instinct. um the thing what people what let's break instinct down. Instinct is your brain protection. It's your body's first guard of protection. It's your brain's first guard of protection. Okay? When your instinct go off, it's not something your instinct I'll put it to you like this. Your instinct is not going to help you build an Apple, or a MacBook, or it's not going to help you build a light bulb if you're Thomas Edison. It wasn't their instinct that got them there. It was their drive, it was their will, and it was downright their insanity and willingness to lose to gain. Your instinct is not built upon you being able to lose so you can gain. Your instinct is completely all defensive, right? If you was to think of it of anything, if you how can I say, if we was speak on sports wise, right? The easiest way to speak on it is football. There's people who specifically on the pro level especially only play defense. And then there's people who only play offense. Your instinct will only help you defensively, right? You're not going to go and try to put your foot in a swamp without any socks and shoes on, without your instincts going off and being like, yo, there might be a snake in there. Let's not do this, right? It's the same vice versa, as far as not necessarily allowing your instinct to dictate your actions, but your reasoning why and your reasoning want overlapping your instinct, because your want is not necessarily what your brain needs and what your body needs. You do if I want to be wealthy, that is not a necessity for my body, and it's not a necessity for my brain. And so that's why you will find people who have great instinct not gain great wealth, because they're not willing to go on a limb and take those losses. Now I'm gonna bring it all back, right? So I was talking to this woman, and she said, like, during this conversation, like, we were supposed to meet up, we ended up not meeting up, and she said that her instincts was going off about me. I was like, okay, whatever. And I like, as soon as she said that, something told me to like actually hit her with something so she could understand why instinct was going, but I couldn't think of what to say. And so she hit me with that, and ever since then it's just been festering in me. And so how do I put this? When it comes to a relationship, people who are looking to fall in love or looking to love someone, you got to be able to tell your instincts to shut up. Because your instincts is not really your instincts. Your instincts are your walls. Those are your walls. And at certain points, when you find somebody that can possibly take you out your comfort zone and bring you to another level, it will be your brain telling you, yo, watch out for this person. But instead of it being your brain telling you that, it's going to be your instinct. It's going to hide itself within your instinct. And this is where pride also is going to play a part, because in your pride, your pride is going to really boost your instinct and what they really are, what your instinct, how strong your instinct should really be, right? You gotta be careful with allowing yourself that bubble of instinct protecting you. But what do you think?
And everybody, whoever watches this, or it's just me and him watching it back, just to gain perspective from where we used to be and where we are. You guys have to understand there's a difference between instinct and intuition. Ooh, you like that, Walt? There's a difference between instinct and intuition. As Walt said, we act in so much of an animal-like nature that we forget we are human beings, though. We have the ability to be conscious of certain decisions that we're making. But your pride and your ego is creating a certain story in your head, and you start to create situations and things that protect you. So that's
Yes.
what instinct kicks in. Is that fight or flight? It's only for survival. That's what Walls is saying. It's only for survival. It is just you trying to protect yourself. But you have to get into a certain place that if you really want to grow and you want to grow with someone, or if you just want to grow in general, you have to learn to just fall and let go and stop trying to protect everything and feel like anything can be something that's gonna tear you down and make you feel uncomfortable because growth is uncomfortable.
Oh man. And off of that, I'm gonna play off of you. Um, so we'll circle back to this, right? But I'm gonna play off of you. Last time we spoke, the first time we tried to make a video, the sound didn't go through. It was a great video, great interview, but it just didn't go through. But we touched on something, and you really touched on something. So me, I tell people I'm Buddhist Christian. We'll come back to that, and I'll explain. It's been like what, almost 2 weeks, so I definitely been able to sit, ponder, and really think on why do I put that limitation or label upon myself, right? But you said something that is very true about Buddhist teaching, and that is back to what you just said, unattachment. If I'm going to fall, if I'm going to jump and fall and immerse myself, I got to be unattached by what I had in the past or what I have now. Because what I have now and what I have in the past can always be elevated to a new level. But in order for me to get there, sometimes you're going to have to fall. You're going to have to give yourself to something else. And again, that's going to go against pride, and that's going to go against your instincts. Because your instincts, and this is something else that I want to say when it comes to instinct, is your instincts is only going to protect you off of what you know, not what you can gain. It's only based off of experience. I don't touch a stove because I've already touched a stove before. You get it? So it's kind of like, the reason why we're so protective over newborns is because in our eyes we're like, they're completely harmless, and they can't fight for themselves, and they have no instinct. They don't know the dangers of the world. But it's also because of that a child can develop way quicker and learn way more than a fully grown adult, because fully grown adults at that time, we're 29, I'm 29, he's 29. By this time, you have your instincts. You have your instincts, and you have your swagger, and you have your way of thought. And a lot of times, if you attach yourself to that, you limit yourself. It's kind of just like putting labels on yourself. Anytime I call myself a nigga, I limit myself to that that word. I limit myself to that demographic. No matter who hears it and how they think a nigga is, I limit myself and I put myself in that box. Not only that, and that's another thing. Always know that your words have power.
And it's crazy because what Walt's basically saying is instinct is just something you build over time from past experiences. That's all it is. That's all it is built up experiences and you being able to go through those experiences a little faster because you've been there and done that. So, well, you're already there. How do you think that you can be in a relationship and something happens and you feel as if, oh, I've been here before. This is something that I've experienced before.
Yes.
But you're in a new situation. This is what people do, not only in relationship, but in life. you take new situations, but you bring old experiences into your new situation. But you expect
new
it to
things.
go somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, you expect that. Me and Walter spoke about this before. That is the definition of insanity. Continuously doing the same thing and expecting change. But how would I feel like people know, but again, they're afraid to fall.
They're afraid.
And it's crazy because, like Wall said, instinct it leaves you in a kind of way of you're waiting for something.
Yes, you're waiting to be rescued.
Like, exactly.
It makes you no, go ahead. Go ahead. It makes you I guess a civilian, not necessarily a civilian in your own life, but it makes you
kind of like a bystander, right?
Yeah, a bystander. You know, like an innocent bystander. You're not the hero and you're not the villain.
And this is what B and Wall's talking about. It's about control and having freedom. That's what we're talking about. When he's speaking of chains and freeing yourself, this is what we're speaking about. You know, having past experience be something that is holding you back from moving forward and growing. That is a form of slavery within yourself. We talked about this before. You know, attachment is just a way that you continue to hold yourself back, and you're really not making it so you have freedom. And basically, what he was saying also, I don't know if he's going to hit on this about the Buddhist Christian thing, but a lot of people, you guys, would be in a situation and saying, I've been here before. He's saying you're putting labels on the situation, and it's really taken away from what the situation could be. Because you're thinking you know, and you're creating things and forming situations and answers in your head when really you don't know. And if you take that, I don't know, but I'm going to do what I can do my best into the situation, and then, you know, see how it works, and not being attached to the results because it's about the process, then you really can start to grow and start to better yourself.
Yeah, 100%. But what you also gotta, and peeing back on that, what you also gotta do is plan it out. Like every situation you go into, there's a way for you to plan it out, and then it doesn't necessarily have to be something big, right? I know when I was younger, I was like, yo, if I ever get into an argument with a woman, then that woman ain't for me, you know. But that was very naive of me because I'm like, if we don't fight, or if we don't put our, like, if we don't fight, then clearly neither one of us have a stand or a boundary that, you know, needs to be addressed. And so what I'm saying is, when it comes to the plan, is I had to learn that if I'm getting into an argument, my plan is to stay composed, to stay within myself. You know, not necessarily on my thoughts, but stay within myself as far as emotionally. So with that being said, it's okay to give up control if you're giving up control with the plan. You know, if you know what your objective is out of this whole situation and how you're going to compose yourself, then in that self, you have a plan. The crazy thing, and the thing is about choice, is that we always have a choice, but we always feel like our choice has to lead to us being in control of the situation. And a lot of times, you trying to be in control of a situation limits yourself. There's been plenty of times where a lot of rich people and everything like that will speak up, where they said what got them to where they were was a little connection, not necessarily them going out there and working harder than everybody else in the world. Because to be honest, poor people work harder than rich people. You know, I know plenty of poor people who have three to two jobs. Me myself, I have two jobs, right? Well, three jobs. Um, and you put me against a rich person in 24 hours, I guarantee you they're going to pass out just like how I do, right? But the difference is that they gave up control in a situation, and in so what they wanted to manifest came into fruition for them. Where they gave up the room, where they opened the room for the universe to come in and fill that void of control that they try to have, and so it elevated them into a new level.
It's crazy, Walls. Can people do their work and sit back? That's what I think people are afraid of, right? They're afraid of just basically what you're saying. Giving up control and saying, I did I did my best and I left it all out there. And Wallace tells stories about his wrestling career and just things in general when talking to his coaches. You guys heard these stories before. Talking to the old coaches and saying, "Well, Wallace, you're looking for. Are you looking for the accolades? Is that what you're doing this for?" And I heard you say the story before, and it's like people have to understand that it's not always about getting to that place where that's your form of recognition. That's what people are looking for. It's about getting to a place where I am working as hard as working. I'm doing what I can, and I'm doing it in so much of a way that whatever happens, I still love it.
Yes.
Getting to a place to say, hey, I put my all into this, and no matter what, I love it, and I love this action, and continuously being in that cycle of doing that will help people to start to really grow and work out issues that they're having. Because I feel like when it comes to, like you said, the rich and the poor people thing, a lot of people are really compensating. And we spoke about this before. A lot of people are just doing a lot of stuff, a lot of nothing to make it seem like they're doing something. Well, realistically, you can be a little more conscious about the decisions you're making and realize what you're doing is actually burning you out a little more than just sitting back and starting to, okay, what comes my way, I will handle it accordingly instead of, oh, I gotta go get it, I gotta go get it, I gotta go get it. Because eventually you're gonna burn out from doing so much of, running and going so hard at something.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's nothing wrong with working hard, but if you're spreading out that energy and it's not targeted, then you're working towards nothing. You know what I mean? Like, and it's very important that you set a goal to where it's not really necessarily, you want to catch a star, but you're shooting for the moon. Um, it's more than that. Sometimes it got to be not relentless, but you have to relentlessly know what you're aiming for, and that's the thing. A lot of people, going back to what you said, a lot of people are, doing a lot, but a lot of times the reason why they're doing a lot is so they can't think about the situation that they're in. And I think that's what really shined in 2020 when everything was paused, because now that everything has been paused, people have to sit there and be like, yo, like, I know for myself, I sat down and I was like, man, I'm really not happy with where I'm at. And so it came down to a certain choice. It was like either I can stick to where I'm at or I can find my happiness. And then that's where, and people have to stop being so afraid of knowing themselves and being like, yo, if I'm not happy, what will make me happy? Like, how many people do you know are going to be like, what will make them happy, and it has no attachment to earthly things? It has no attachment to a new Mustang. It would be great if I can get my Mustang. Lord knows I will love my Mustang, But if I don't get my Mustang, am I still going to be happy? Will I still be able to feel fulfillment within myself in everything that I do? And I think that's where a lot of people get messed up. And so this is where I'm go into the Buddhist Christian thing, right? I sat back last time we talked, and I came to a realization because I was listening to this Tao video, and I really sat back and I thought about it. I was like, why Buddhist and why Christianity? And so this is what I came up with. The reason why I identify with Buddhism is because Buddhism teaches me to love myself, you know, and with me loving myself, I have learned to be a better Christian because I will not do to others that I wouldn't do to me out of love. You know, I love myself so much that I can love others just as much or if not more. And I believe Christianity was meant not to isolate. And that's the sad part right now. It's so isolating, you know, especially American Christianity, right? American Christianity is very isolating. But Christianity, I feel like as a whole, is meant, completely meant, to teach people to love others and teach people to have a community with others. So that's where I say that. So when I say Buddhist Christian, I say I love myself first and then I love everybody else, thanks to the love I put into myself.
And it's crazy because he hit on something we was hitting on last time, which was we went very, very in depth into it. It was fire conversation to say that, not only 2020, but 2021, we just started, but basically, the pandemic's going to probably, be around for a little longer, or we don't know necessarily. But this process is what, me and, Damien and I are talking about when you can really get the time to sit down, take a breather, and stop compensating for, stop running away from yourself. I spoke to Walls one day about a conversation. I was like, Walls, I had to ask him, why do you think you work out so much? And eventually he had to think about himself, and he figured out the answer within himself. And as a male, I had to sit down with myself, a while back and say, why do you try to be with, so many different women? And then you had to figure, I had to figure out within myself, oh, you're compensating because you feel like that is making you feel like you're doing something for other people, so you feel better about yourself. When realistically, it's you who needs to work, but you help other people to make you feel better about yourself because you feel like you're doing something. When realistically, I had issues that I had to sit down and run through play by play. Where this started. Why do I hold this as something that's important to me, and why do I feel a certain way about a certain situation? And that's what this time is allowing people to do. Sit down, take some time, and like Walt said, don't be afraid to work it out. To say, all right, this is the things that I feel like I'm not doing well, or things that bother me with myself, and figure out where it stemmed from, and figure out what kind of situations have you been in that you've been bothered by. I think then eventually, the more in depth you go, you'll figure out, okay, this stemmed from probably something in the past that I didn't let go. And that's what Walt's talking about when we say let go, fall, because there's so much that people are holding on to, being attached to. And saying all this is a perfect segue for me to say, I would say I guess, no denomination. I guess, in a way, I just feel as if, like Walt said, there are certain things that were said that I could take and I can hold, I cannot necessarily hold on to, but I can say, oh, I understand that. And I live that way when it comes to loving thy neighbor as you would love thyself. Like, certain things like that, I can take and say, I understand that. And I want to live my life that way because a lot of people don't understand that we're all we're all still trying to work it out. We're still trying to figure it out, right? We're just all doing the same thing, trying to live life and trying to be the best version of ourselves. So you may see someone in a situation within themselves, and as Walter and I have learned, only they can get themselves out of it. And sometimes you may try to pull people out, and you know you end up getting scratched up trying to do such things, and you use a lot of energy trying to do such things. And I say all that to say, this is the time for people to let go, to sit down and have that self evaluation. That's what Wiles and I was talking about before. You can look at yourself in a way and not be judgmental, and that's what I feel like certain religions, they look at what other people are doing and they're judgmental about it. But as Wall said, if I know me and I love me, then I'm gonna see where I was and am, and see that you're working the same way I'm working, and say, the cliffhangers. I understand that you are at a certain place within yourself, and you're still working, and you're still figuring it out. And I can't judge you because you're at a certain place and I'm at a certain place. And there's no higher than thou or anything like that. You're just at a certain place and I'm at a certain place. You're working it out. You have to figure it out. And all that we can do is really continue to love those people that are in those fights. And sometimes, as Walter and I spoke about, sometimes you have to love people from afar. You have to let them figure it out, because sometimes you can give your energy to not only just people but situations, and they can drain you, and that can slow you down from you working on yourself.
Yeah, and with that, um, I know I touched on it with my own life. Um, I had to learn to cut family ties and take back my power from family. And your power, a lot of times it's not necessarily, you being in the being present or anything like that. But I would say this: your subconscious is a mofo, and the energy that you give to people, no matter what, is still there. And unless you call that energy back, you'll be surprised subconsciously of how that energy is going to disrupt your vibration. And that is very key. And I'll say this because I know I haven't gone on the opposite spectrum of lust. Um, and that is learning how to control your empathy. And like I said, that's probably one of the pride is something, but having the correct control over your empathy can add gifts to your life as well as make you a burden to others as well as yourself, right? Well, is so when and I think you touched on this, but when you look at other people and you don't focus on yourself and what you got as gifts, you're gonna hurt yourself, right? You and that is the the subject of lust, right? Is that you believe something that you don't have is going to add meaning to your life, or at least add meaning to a moment. And that in itself, right? Whenever you think like that, it's your brain, not necessarily your brain, but your spirit thinking empathetically. Like if I was in this person's shoes, doing the same thing this person was doing, I would be so happy. And it comes down to, and it is very, I'll say this, right? Racism plays off of lust because black people, you will always hear it where they'll be like, man, those white people got white privilege, right? What they're really saying is if I was in their shoes, I will be able to do a lot more, right? It comes back to that, me being 5'7", 5'6". It comes back to me being like, man, if I was 6 foot, I would be in the NBA right now. You get what I mean? That me saying that and putting that out there, that is me misusing my empathy. Now I'm not really using my empathy to see that I can still live through that person. Not necessarily like live through that person like, oh, what they do, but I can necessarily enjoy myself because that person is enjoying themselves. You know what I mean? And instead, now I'm using my lust. And when you use lust, you're actually cursing that person. And not only are you sending a curse to them, right? If I'm sending a 25% curse to them, I'm sending a 50% curse back to me. Because it's just going to reflect off of them back to me. Because what I'm seeing in them is what I want. But what I'm also seeing within them is a reflection of myself, what I don't want. And so I feel like if I take from them, I can replace what I don't want. But in the end, I'm still always going to be stuck with what I have. And so, that's where I'm at when it comes to lust and empathy. Control your empathy.
And you know what's fire? I think where you was getting at, or what you was trying, actually it was the quote I threw at you. You was like, oh yeah, I need that. I think this is the quote you're thinking of. I told him last time we spoke, I said, comparison is the thief of joy.
Yes.
I think that's what it was. And most people, and what he's saying is, you have an admiration or a feeling about something someone else is doing. And that's what he's telling you guys. But you're taking that and you're misconstruing it and you're using it in a way that it takes away from the situation you're in and how you can be better yourself. And that's what it means by you're poisoning not only someone else, but you're also poisoning yourself. And just like you just said, people, I don't know if people don't know or they forget that, a thought or just even us in general, it's all just, you know, uh, frequencies vibrating, at a certain pitch. That's all it is. And a thought is just that, a certain vibration. And he spoke about this before. The Kobe's, the Jordans, the LeBrons. Walls was saying that y'all didn't catch it because, like I said, the sound didn't work. He was saying people put so much time and energy into something, and they really give and they really fall, that the universe has to give you what you're asking for, because that's trusting. That's having faith, and that's basically that's it. That's just true faith. When you really fall and you give your everything to a situation, and no matter the outcome, you're like, hey, I put my all into it, and that's it. And basically, Walls is saying in a way, most people aren't able to do such things because of what they're looking at that someone else has. You know, uh, most people, and we spoke about this before as well. The things that you think you want are probably something based upon something somebody else has, and it could be from social media, it could be from the news, and this is what we spoke about.
I was just about to speak on that.
We said the news and social media. We're not, trying to speak, bad about it, but it's just an organized way to promote a certain image and to promote certain things and
sell you something. It's selling you something. And the thing is what it's selling you is those sins, right? And what they've learned to target and how they get you, right? First they hit you with pride, the lie. First they hit you with the lie, like, yo, if you have this product, you're gonna feel better for yourself. And then how they boost that is the price. It's only so amount of money. And then you're like, man, I can afford that. And then that's where the lust comes, where it's like you start using your empathy to put, let's say if it's a cologne, to put that cologne on you, and you're like, man, them women are not going to be able to resist me when I put this on, right? And you just boost off of that. And that's just a selling product. Instagram itself is like jealousy on crack. It's like, I have this, and nobody, it's rare, and I feel bad for those people, because you do hear people talk noise about those people where they are really going through something in their life and they post it on social media, and it's they're definitely calling for some help, but in the end, that's the truth of the matter. Nobody's gonna post the ugliness, right? It's very few people, unless you're a motivational speaker or something like, or somebody really going through something, or maybe you just slipped up and you're drunk. um People aren't gonna show you the ugly truth. They're just gonna show you what they want you to see. And that's how it works out. That you know like I said, in that video, I don't like the media. I don't trust the media. I understand the media and I respect the media, because I can't knock their hustle. It's a beautiful game plan on how to get these people hooked. I was just reading an article today on how CNN, Fox, and whatever other news channel, they're all dropping in ratings since Trump left office, right? But yeah, all of them, one of them would be saying how much they hated Trump, and the other, Fox, would talk about how they love Trump. And now, I hope people will really see it like it was all a game. It was all a ploy for their money. But why we speak on it is, you really got to learn, and especially now that we have the time to guard your brain, guard your mind, guard who you are. I know me as an athlete, when I was wrestling, I wouldn't be in relationships. Like, I think when I was wrestling, even in high school, I only had one girlfriend, but she even knew. Once wrestling started, like, I'm going to shut down emotionally, because I can't allow negative things to seep into my head. Because once that get into your head, it's hard to get out, and it's hard for you to really call upon yourself to be the best you can be. And that's the hard part. A lot of people don't understand how to just shut the world out. You can always be a part of the world, but you don't have to listen to the world's nonsense, right? And that's the truth. And that's kind of, I guess that's what I kind of had to learn with, dealing with a crazy family. Like, I've had a friend that said something that was so ridiculous. It's probably one of the reasons why I realized I shouldn't be his friend no more. But I think we're in middle school or high school, and he said something that was crazy. I was like, okay, this dude is really dumb. But he was like, we just got into sexual stuff, or he had sex before I did. And at the time, I was like, in my head, I was like, man, I'm definitely going to become a scientist or something like that. So I paid attention to science. And the science teacher always said, when you go into a woman, um, it's not always you gotta come to get her pregnant. Like, you're constantly coming, even when you're jogging. They say like a track has like 1 billion semen on it or something like that, something crazy like that on there. So it's like your penis is always ejaculating. And he said some nonsense like, and he already had a baby, and he was like, "Oh no, I always pull out game strong." I was like, "You do, you do know like you're constantly secreting cum," and he was like, "Nah, that's a lie. Whoever told you that was an idiot." I was like, "Okay, that was my teacher, and she graduated college, but you barely graduated high school. But okay, you right." You right. On that, I'm gonna catch you on the flip. I say that. I say that because you gotta realize when things around you aren't giving you substance, and that's why I go against social media. I don't feel like social media, unless you're in social media for the business aspect of it, like you're trying to make connections and everything like that. I just don't feel like social media is here for us as the common people because it's not adding to your life like it could or like it should, you know.
And it's crazy because Wall said something about SIDS, right? And this goes into something we spoke about before, and I keep saying that because we had some heat. We bringing the heat back, and in my perspective, a sin is anything that deviates you from being like self, being like the God you are.
Mm.
That's what a sin is. Anything that deviates you from that which is thou. And that could be sexual desires. It could be feeling like you're better than somebody else. Just certain
Ooh.
things, people put into certain categories and say, okay, these are seven deadly sins or whatever be the case. Certain ways that have you deviate from that path. And it's crazy because, that story you were saying, a lot of people don't take the time to really figure out that we have certain abilities and certain things, like you said, that we allow to be around us or that we do that really take away from the power that we really truly have. And coming to this, I call it a playground. That's what I call, Earth. I call it a playground for us to really enjoy and use this as a stepping stone to find something better. And I say all that to say, me feeling like we are all that, we all have the ability to make heaven out of a situation or make hell out of a situation. What you get is how you feel and what you put towards it. Walls and I can speak about where we came from shelters, from poverty, from situations where we didn't have certain figures in the home, certain support, certain lessons that we should have learned, certain things that we feel like we should have had as a younger person. But at the same time, we don't hold those people, to the standard to say, "Oh, it's your fault. Why I da 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 da." No, eventually we started to grow older and gain a certain understanding about those people working it out too. Those people also were struggling with something, and they couldn't find a way to provide me what they, could have provided me. But at the same time, what we do, we continue to work on ourselves so we can gain, so we can give information that we have that helped us out to other people. You can use certain situations to, raise your consciousness and awareness within yourself and within life, or you can continually cycle through your own drama. That's what it's about. Life isn't bad. Life is life.
Life is
How
life.
how you perceive it, it's up to you.
And
And it's up to you to really figure out, what it is that you want and how you want to live your life.
and and I'm gonna speak on two things off of that because this just hit me. It's kind of, me personally, I definitely believe in God. And, going through my life, um, there are so many stories where, it was definitely life or death. And, but I also have the understanding, and I feel bad. And I know I'm going to go on a little rant for a second, but I feel bad for women because the whole Adam and Eve um, concept, or what I believe is a misconcept, but the whole Adam and Eve concept of it was Eve's fault for why Adam ate the apple, right? To me, I believe God gave us choice as soon as he told Adam, don't eat the apple. Once he said that to Adam, because it's just like a kid, right? If I tell a kid, yo, don't touch the stove, what they gonna do once I turn my back? They're gonna become curious. They're gonna walk around the stove. They're gonna do whatever. Just them walking around the stove in itself is them making a choice. And so that's why I say God already gave us choice. And it wasn't Adam's fault, Eve's fault, or Lucifer's fault for why, Adam ate the apple. What it really came down to was, God already put that into fruition. But I'm gonna go back. The reason why I bring that up is, for me, I feel like God, when people say God worked in my life, what people have to understand that God is not gonna come and rescue you. What God does is use an invisible hand. And how this ties into what you said is how people weren't in your life and you have to realize that they were going through something. What that means is God took them out of your life so they can grow and you can grow. And at some point you're going to cross again and you're going to go together. But at some point again, if need be, you got to be willing to go with the plan of, God or the universe, whoever you want to give the credit to where it's like, okay, we need to split. I always want to have love for you. And if it's time for us to reconvene, then we'll reconvene. And so, that's what you kind of have to learn, because that's what I had to learn when it came to my father. Now, am I saying this? I'm like, oh, I'm this lovey-dovey when it comes to my father. No, there's still some underlying things. And just like what I spoke on the video before, I had to literally, in 2020, not even 2 or 3 months ago, write my father a letter and let him know. Because this goes back to wrath. There were still underlying emotions and energy that I had clogging my well-being and clogging my limitlessness. There were still borders that I allowed to be up. And the only way I could unlock that or break through that wall is for me to take the initiative and take back my energy. And not only take back my energy, but let out what was inside. Wrath is just a built up tension. It just builds and builds and builds, and it just clogs you up. It's kind of like, constantly eating McDonald's. It's eventually it just clogs up your arteries until you get out and you eat you some greens and you clean your system out. That's kind of what you have to do when it comes to wrath. You just got to clean yourself out. And anytime you get it, and this probably the reason why a lot of women seem, guy talk crazy, but it's not really crazy. It's very rational. When they're upset, they are upset. They're not like guys, where we're taught, hold it in, be a real man. Like, no, I'm learning myself. Like, that ain't being a real man. Like, I don't really want to label myself a man, but a real man should be able to talk about their feelings, should be able to say, I love you without ever wondering who's around to hear, And so, just like what you said, or what I was alluding to, the invisible hand, people have to accept that the invisible hand is always going to be there. And not only that, they have to accept that the world wants you to survive. And not only does it want you to survive, it wants you to thrive, and it needs you to thrive. No matter what you do, it will always be for the next generation. Period. No matter what you do, will always be for the next generation. The bum that is on the corner begging for food right now is doing for the next generation, because a kid in the car might see that bum and ask mommy for $1 so he can give it to the bum. Now that kid is growing his empathy. The construction worker is growing for the community. He's growing for the next generation. No matter what, we are all adding to the world or the earth itself, right? But we have to get out that mindset that the world is going against us, because every time we think like that, it adds to your pride, it adds to envy, it adds to your wrath, and next thing you know, you're walking around justifying your own anger and your own jealousy. And it's just not healthy.
And it's crazy because uh, people don't understand that, certain things, especially out of the Bible, a lot of people take it literally. And these could be analogies. This could be something used as an allegory or a story that provides a deeper meaning about something. Like Walt was saying, the story of Adam and Eve could be about, someone finding knowledge or wisdom, and or having choice or free will, and working out that free will, and actually taking it upon themselves to try out certain things, and just to do certain things, and end up, you know, uh, uh, having a certain thought about it and lingering in that thought for too long. These just could be certain stories based upon those certain things. But it's crazy because he speaks about his story about his father, and I said, being being a being just a being around certain people, and we spoke about social media, news, and society. They I don't want to give them a certain connotation, but it is what it is. Certain Basically, society makes it so people as men are this way and people as women are this way. If I want to just be honest and be open about it, like Wall said, people people in society make you want to feel like, oh, a man is someone who doesn't cry, who doesn't shed a tear, who doesn't care about feelings, who doesn't do this. But no, like Wall said, someone who's strong, not even a man, a woman. Strength is having the ability to be open,
Mm.
and no matter what, accepting that, and being able to express how you feel openly as well, and deal with the consequences, and say, you know what, I'm just doing what I feel, what feels right to me, and I'm able to take what happens, because of that, in consequence, if there's a consequence behind it, or a certain reaction, because everything could be cause and effect to some people. Whatever it is, I'm able to accept that. That's true strength. That's what strength is. It is weak for somebody to, I don't, yeah, I don't really care. And I say all that to say, with me, I told Walls before this, this before, me growing up, mine was the nonchalant personality, the aloof personality. I got this out of, I think it was a book called Celestine Prophecy or something like that. And it says, certain types of people. I'll just hit on like one or two, or maybe like hit on three, and then I'll just let it go. But, say they said one is aloof, and that was me, more of the I don't care approach, because you're afraid to have a situation not go your way.
Mm.
That's how people act, and that's how society sees men to be. Oh, I don't care because I don't want to be open and have to feel.
Mm.
Another one was it like more like a interrogator. Some people that ask questions to poke holes in certain people or poke holes in certain situations. Ask questions. Well, this is what life is. Da da da. People trying to poke out and pick out certain negative things about a person. Another thing was the poor me personality or trait that people, complain and cry to gain other people's energy. And the last one I think was intimidator, which is an alpha. Those people
Mm-hmm.
who want to always be in control. So they want to take your energy to give themselves more energy because they're afraid of not having control and putting it in someone else's hands because they think they can't handle it properly or handle it the way they want to handle the situation.
Since you said that alpha thing, I will admit this last relationship, these last two actually, I wasn't completely myself, but I will say this, and it's probably my fault, but the last couple relationships, even in college, other than that Kelsey chick, most of my relationships was kind of long distance because even in high school, me and my girlfriend wasn't in the same high school together. So it was. I feel like me personally, I feel like long distance relationship is easier than face to face relationship. But these last couple, I actually had to catch myself where I was like trying to be in control of the relationship, trying to be the alpha. And
Mm.
I had to come to that realization like I've always been, not that. So I've done some research on it. I'm not necessarily an alpha male. I'm a sigma male. I'm the type of person like in a group. There's there might be the alpha male or somebody that's in control of it, but I can definitely take control of it. Like if it's like a situation comes up, I can take control of the situation, but I will just let the other person be him. You can a sigma male is more so known for going and doing their own thing rather than sticking with the group and still coming back to the group eventually, right? And so I realized though when I was in these relationships, like I was really trying to prove how manly I was by trying to be in as much control as I can. With me understand, even then I was very conflicting because it was like I would give them all the control they wanted and all the control I wanted, but at certain times I'll try to take way more control than what I really needed to. And I caught myself a couple times in this last relationship where I was like, oh, I'm an alpha male, I'm an alpha male. I'm like, man, like subconsciously I can even hear myself like, why the hell are you even saying this? And it comes back to that. Even the poor me situation where I was in that relationship, I was like, man, why the heck am I talking to this woman about my past life when I know my past? I know my past life. Why can't, why do I still need to bring it up to this point? I get that she wants to get to know me and she wants to be all about me. I get that. But why am I so struntly emphasizing it? Why is it even a subject matter? Why did we spend a night talking about it? That makes no sense. We could have spent the night talking about how much I care about her, you know? And so you speaking on some things that are very, very true. And it's hard because society again places these labels on people that we feel like we have to live through that, you know? And you know, I will say, because you were on the team, we had a team of alphas or um, sigmas at Kobe, right? We all were, we'll take control in a heartbeat. We were all go getters, right? But even now when I look back at it, we were still growing and everything like that. And, all of us are doing really well. But I will say, I feel like we all are coming on our own, where we're starting to realize, like, we don't need to be men, we just need to be us.
Huh?
you know. And I think that's one of the things that Nor Hughes used to talk about. Like when he used to say tough, I think what he really meant to say was just be you, be the best you can be. Because that
And,
in itself is tough.
and it's crazy because we get into certain situations, and this comes from where we just started at from the start of this. You know, we won because I know us. We be up here an hour, 2 hours, probably. I don't know how long it's been, but what we're getting at the same place where we started. It's about being open and letting go, and not
Mm,
being attached.
not being
Because
attached.
this is it. Walls, we done said this time after time. How can I listen to what you're saying if I'm still talking?
Ooh.
That's that's what I don't have a negative thing to say about prayer. Even if I am a so-called someone who is into meditation, but how do you pray if you're steady talking? How can how can you be told to do what needs to be done?
Mm,
How can you be guided when you're steady speaking?
mm,
I don't know if people understand that. And I say that to say a lot of people are basing situations off, like we just said, time after time, past situations and past experiences, and they bring it into their current situation. And that's where people are at, when it comes to so-called being a male and being an alpha male or whatever may be the case. Are you able to adapt in any situation? That's what life
oof.
is about. Can you be around with somebody who's trying to dominate the situation and say, "Oh, I see what you're doing. Okay, all right, whatever." I'm gonna just like you said, I'm gonna just be me. And are you able to be around a certain group of people who are a little more sit back, a little more protective? Are you able to? Oh well, maybe this time I gotta kind of come in with a little more different type of energy and kind of take over a little bit just to show them it's okay to be you. So sometimes you have to be able to adapt, and that's what it is about life. You have to be able to, okay, do I need to, put forth more effort? Do I need to sit back a little bit? Do I need to uh, just go, or do I need to, methodically work on something and take it down to conserve my energy mentally and physically? It just being able to adapt. And we're not talking about, like we said, we're not talking about instincts. We're just talking about being aware and being conscious. And this is what happens. Intuition is possible when you stop being so focused on working things out here and actually just doing and living with the results of what you're doing because you're putting so much out and you're being so open with yourself and open with the universe that things are gonna come your way. The energy you put out, how it go off, the energy you put out,
Gonna
it
come
comes
back.
back.
And
That's it.
not even that. When you said that really, that's what I think people really need to understand when it comes to instinct. Instinct versus intuition. Intuition, you can take an easier action. You know, let's say I do take a chance on a person or a woman or anything like that, even though my instincts is telling me, oh no, this woman ain't right, right? But I go with my intuition. I'm like, I know myself. I know how far I can go. I can still learn something from me dealing with that person. There's no such,
Right.
and that's the, and this is it. There's no such thing as wasted time if you're learning. If that whole
Right.
time that you going about it and you're learning something new about yourself, new about the world, you know, even if you're getting a new cool fact, that time was not wasted. That is not a failure of time. A failure of time is if you're with that person and you're not in the moment, like what you said. If you're with that person and you're just like, oh, well, you're not like this, you're not like that, you're not like this. If you're, kind of like what you said, if you're that person that's constantly questioning and poking holes at certain things, then you're missing out on the when you do that, right? When you poke holes, you're taking out from the whole picture, right? Where you might have, like a computer screen. If you take out just one little dot of that monitor, it can throw the whole computer screen off. You know, you don't need to do that. Just leave it be. Just be there, and let it go. Let go of the process. Let the process go. Because sooner or later, you're going to see the beauty in the process. And just like what you said, the universe is going to give it to you. The universe and the visible hand and the world want to see the beauty that the art piece of your life, right? But if you're constantly beginning and then scrapping, beginning and scrapping, you're never going to really hit that masterpiece. Now, you might get lucky and find it, right? But even now and day, though, you are hearing where, even though people are like, man, I wish it was the good old days, right? But you are hearing where people, it kind of goes back to that divorce rating, right? You're hearing a lot more people not being happy with other people, you know, and it kind of comes back to like, are you not happy with that person? Or are you not happy with who you were, and so you couldn't enjoy that person, you know? There's not, like I said in the past, there's nothing wrong with arguing with someone, but there is something wrong with kind of like what you're saying. If I'm arguing just to be heard, not necessarily to gain and listen and get what you're trying to speak to me.
Ooh. And you and I can talk all day. I'll leave it here. Is what you want what you need? You know, are your wants bigger than what the universe or what creator or God or creation want from you? You know, you are just one speck of a person just in your state. So imagine how big of a person you are in the cosmos. But what you think matters more than all of that. And I don't want to crush people's spirits in saying that. I'm just saying you have to realize that you have to be wanting to do something that stands the test of time. Right, Walls?
Yeah.
No, I don't care if the story, if Jesus is an actual person, the story and what the symbol is and what it's about. I don't know. I don't call, I don't say God. I may say universe. I may say creator. It is not about, that because, that's just me trying to put it in a box for my minuscule mind to understand it. But I can't fathom what it is. But to say all of that, it's about the symbol of what it is and what it represents. You know, people have to do something so much that I don't even care. It's not even about me anymore. And that's what I tell people. That's what marriage is to me. When you say I'm I'm letting go, and this isn't about me anymore. This is about us. That's a true partnership. That's what faith is. You wanna, if people want to be religious, they want to have faith. That's what it is. It's just saying it's not even about me anymore. I trust, and I'm just gonna do as the universe permits, and I'm gonna follow the signs, and I'm gonna let this dictate, how I'm gonna move. And either way, I am happy to give myself and fully commit. And I'm not sure if people are able to do so, but you and I can only hope that something that we say, no matter if we record these 20 of these, I hope that somebody can take some information and apply it. That's what it's about, application. Uh, these are just words, but these are certain pieces of information that we've pulled from somewhere, right? That we could have probably gotten from somewhere else that helped us. And we're just trying to help other people to first be able to see where you are within yourself. That's where it starts. It starts at home. And then, like Wall said, when you start to love you, the rest is easy. When you start to take care of this, the rest of it is easy because you can see yourself in other people. And either you can say, you can do this, and you can bow down to everybody because you're at that place within yourself, or you have to say it's all nonsense and do it like that. But what Walls is saying, everybody's teetering. Everybody is going off, and coming back, and veering off and coming back. Well, how long is it going to take for you to do what needs to be done? That's it. If you keep veering off and coming back, that's a lot of time and energy. If you want to truly be happy, then you have to work on yourself to figure out what it is that is bothering you. And look at it in a way of, okay, I am now able to let go and to be open to what comes my way because every situation can be an opportunity for growth.
Truth right there. That was some truth right there. I mean, I ain't got much else to say from that either. I mean, you hit on a lot. I would say one thing, um, just a life thing to do. Plan it out. It's one thing to go about and allow the universe to work for you, but you can also funnel the universe. You know what I mean? Like you can let the universe know what my target is. This is my target. This I know will make me happy. It's not necessarily like I said, I figured out that my happiness is tied to my mother. Someday, before she passed, I want my mother to know what it feels like not to be poor, not to be in middle class, but to be wealthy. What it feels like to be rich. And so, if I have to grind and figure it out, then that's what I'm going to do. But I'm going to allow the universe to help me. I'm not going to be like, "Oh, it's all on me." No, because that's not going to get it done, right? When you're trying to if your goal, like me, is to break a generational curse, then you're not going to be able to do that by yourself. But like I said, define your happiness, write it out. Write out your yearly goal, write out your 3-year goal, write where you're going to be when you're 5 years in, right? Mine's, for example, 5 years in, I'll be married with my first couple of kids. I'll have my law degree, I have my MBA license and my law license. I will have 4 or 5 different type of properties, and I will be on my way to making my first 100 million. You know, boom. Now the universe knows where I'm trying to go, where I'm gonna pour my energy into, and now it could be funneled that way. So with that being said, again, guys, this was Swift Cliff, in the house. Namaste. I hope y'all have a good night. Again, I'm gonna try and hit these more often. It's probably gonna be me in a car because I am gonna be ripping and running. I'm trying to figure out how to do the whole, quote thing, quote weekly, and everything like that. But again, thanks to my brother, Swift Cliff, for coming through. Hopefully, this video goes through well. I'm definitely gonna post it, and try to. I think I'm gonna have to email it to you, or text. They're gonna be like, "Oh, it's too big." So, but I think I can email it. So, but yeah, it was good. Good talk, man. Good talk.
Hey, it's always a pleasure. Iron shines iron, steel sharpens steel. people like you make it even more fun, and makes it feel as if you don't have to kind of not speak with certain people about certain situations. When you're able to just speak how you want to speak and not hold your tongue because you don't know how someone's gonna feel about it. It's crazy. So to be able to sit down with you and really just express how I feel, is always a beautiful thing. And I hope this can continue to help not only others but us. Maybe we can grow from this ourselves and continue to work out being a better version of ourselves. I appreciate you, my dude. As I always say, love, namaste.
Love, namaste.